Hey there YouTube, back here with a new model build. I think I may have hinted in one of my last model build. This is one of the upcoming ones. But as you see here, the USS Defiant NX 74205 under the command of Captain Sisko. So from Deep Space Nine, be working on this model. I'll open it up. Let's see. There's a lot of room in this box. Got some clear pieces. Got some decals. Some of them are upside down, some of them are not. I've actually already opened this before, taken something out. I think the decals. Yeah, the decals are in there. And there are the shipped pieces. And of course, the handy dandy directions. So, let's see, let's take a look at them. So as far as the build is concerned, I think this is an easy peasy build. There's one step, two step, three step, four step, five step, and then putting it on the stand. Let's look at something here. I know I've got the stand outside of the box somewhere already. And looks like the painting directions there. So light gray, medium gray, dark gray, clear blue, clear red, and copper. Oh, it's a good thing I brought my metallic paints out. So that's cool. So stay tuned, and as we get going, I will start building this baby together. And well, actually, let me open these, pull the parts out so you can take a look at them first. Okay, we got those. And these pieces. That's the top of the ship, that's the underbelly. So as you can see, this is going to be a easy, small amount of pieces. It's going to go together very quickly. And not only that, it's really not that large either. It's one of my favorite ships from all Star Trek and all sci-fi. I've always felt it was kind of sort of Star Trek's answer to the Millennium Falcon. And I know there's some bigger sets out there, but they're kind of hard to come by. So I went with this set, which I want to say it's the 1 in 1,000 scale. Yeah, 1 in 1,000th scale. I hope that shows up on video. And it's a snap kit, but I glue, and it's a skill level 2, so it's a pretty easy model. But anyway, as you know, with these small models, what makes them the challenge, which I almost feel like the skill level should be higher, because the real skill comes in the painting of the model. Anybody can snap or glue together. It's the painting that makes a model good. And if you really look at this, I mean, sure, you could use the decals for a lot of those color spots because they have them, but a good model person is going to paint most of those color scheme spots and just use the decals that have the lettering and the stripes. And even the windows, I'll probably paint windows. That's a little bit more my speed. So anyway, stay tuned. And actually, this is not the one video. I will be back shortly as I am working on it in the first video. So I don't know how many videos this one's going to take, but it'll be a nice build, and it'll be cool to have a nice little model of the Defiant, which is by far one of the coolest and simple ships as far as for design out of Star Trek. All right, so I'm going to start with the first part of the instructions. I'm one of those, I follow the instructions. I know there are those that they don't, and that is cool. Biggest reason why I like to follow instructions, especially with some of these spaceship ones, there very often will be a part that looks exactly like another part, but there's something different about the how it assembles to something. Like there's a little nook or knob or something, and so when I actually need the clear parts for the next piece. So when I go and I assemble them together, I can't tell you how many times I've caught myself just in the nick of time. Oh, there it is. Ow. That you have to get another part out, and you almost glued the wrong part into the wrong space, in which case you have to, if you do that, if you don't pick up on it right away, you might have to do a little bit of work that you don't want to have to do to a model piece, and then you have to rely on more, just the glue to hold something in place, because you have to destroy the assembly parts of it. So anyway, so that's basically what I do, is I follow the directions, and good for the people that don't. I know these ships pretty well, but I don't want to pretend that I know how they've made the model pieces, because the model pieces could be off. Actually, let me use something different. Use this. There we go. Actually got gonna have to sand it anyway for the paint to stick right. Alright, so anyway, when I come back, I'll glue this together. Alright, part one of the directions is complete. And kind of looking there, it's kind of neat. And now for part two of the directions, which is basically majority of the main hull, and I guess these are supposed to be escape pods that are here. Perhaps those are not escape pods, or but anyway, those go in with the main hull pieces, and of course the bridge locks. Well, that's not the bridge, but the nose of the ship, because it does have a nose, which is really strange for a Starfleet vessel. Is added. So I'm going to remove these parts. Okay, so pieces. We're working with the main body, the nose. Let's put this little thing there. My glue mess. Let's take these little parts out. If I was going to light this, you could put lights behind these. Snap those in well. I have a lighting kit for another ship that I'll be doing, the Cardassian Galore cruiser, which is a really cool ship from Star Trek. It doesn't want to snap in, let's flip it around the other way. Everything snaps, yeah. Okay. So, just so that they stay in there really well, I'm going to go through here and just put a little bit of glue on these. It's really easy for stuff to come undone. So anyway, it's them. We know this is going to sit in there, like so. And we know that that's going to put that. Now I probably should have some filing before I put those pieces in, but let me just check some of these edges here real quick. Before I clip them off. It's really easy to go overboard with cleaning up the edges and accidentally removing part of the detail. Which can be repaired, but the less damage that you do, the less you have to repair. What I shall do is there's like different knobs. Put some on my knobs. Normally I put these on the holes are going in. If you look at this piece here, there's several opening holes, and not knowing which ones are all going to line up with. Yeah, I see, probably the big ones. I could do that. Let me put a little bit more. This way it holds really well and never comes undone. Some more glue over here. Rest in there. I'm not going to do it overboard because it is a snap. So that's the base. Goes in that way. Hopefully it won't break. Its position. Okay, like so. There is the main body. Most of the ship is together, and when you come back I will put the rest of the pieces on with stage part 4 and part 5. Well, it looks like there's even some more things in part 3, 4, and 5. Okay, yeah. So I'll be back. Alright, so it's time for the next set of pieces. So I'm pretty sure that these are part of the warp engine stuff. Yes, these are part of the nacelles that are actually mounted to the ship. I'm not going to take the bottom ones off yet because I got to work on the top ones first, because there is a thing about them that needs to, they got two little pieces that kind of bring that in. So these two little pieces here that need to go in, which are some of these little things right there. And they are individually numbered, which lets you know that their shape is probably slightly different from the rest of than the others, because you need things to fit. Let me look at those again. These are potentially really hard to do, so I am actually clipping further away from the thing because I want to make sure how they go in. And they do not go in there well. I see how they go in now. So I'm going to trim them more now that I see how they go in. And let me tell you, these are some really tiny parts here. And it is very, very tricky to get these ones in. This would be something that if somebody was having a difficult time with them, they would probably say, forget it, I'm not putting these in. And they literally almost don't fit at all. Which is so typical of these models that are what I call economy models. And I just dropped a piece and I have to look for it. So I'm going to have to stop the video and come back. Okay, I did part of step 3 off camera. I got those little things in there and I did find it on the floor, but that's them. Is that right there? They were a pain in the you-know-what, so I wanted to do that off camera, get those assembled so that I could concentrate a little bit more on that. So anyway, now it's the other piece, which is the other part of the warp nacelles, which are these bottom parts right there. So let's take them out. And this will be a lot quicker. And let's see, that one was number 7, which is the one that goes on this side right here. And so I'm going to just go here and do that, a little bit of that. No, I was on camera or not with that, but okay, so that is going to happen now. So we want some glue there, some glue there. And so far, this model is lining up really nicely. I'm not getting any gaps, which is great. I don't have to end up using anything to fill in the gaps so far, which I like that. That makes for a very enjoyable build. Although I might, nope, that closed up really well. So there might be a little bit need for some part of the gaps right there. I might just be able to put some glue and then clamp it down. But anyway, there's one of the side nacelles there without the front and back parts put on yet. And let's do the other one on the other side. got a nice little detail on it, the model. But I say little because it is a small ship. I would have preferred that this ship have been about this big to work on this, because it would be, I think, nicer to work on. When they shrink these ships down, and when it's one of these kits that's, in the neighborhood of $20 or $30, you know that you're not getting a ship with exact detail. There's going to be things that aren't like how they are in the show or the film or whatever. And you can say film with this ship because it was in Star Trek First Contact. So, alright. Let's attach this. Keep that away from the glue mess. There. Glue on that. And I just do this for good measure, folks, so that with the glue, so that it doesn't ever come undone. I realize it probably wouldn't. These pegs that are on this are quite long, and they seem to snap really well, as you can hear the snap. But as you can see, there is some gap right there, so I'm actually going to have to do something about that. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. It might be something I just fix with a little bit of putty, or well, actually I use vinyl packing, so spackle. I use spackle is what I do. So anyway, all right. When I come back, I'll be working on a little more. All right, I have done one of the nacelles. So you see the front there and the back. So if you see the other one, you realize it's totally see-through. So I need to make it so that I can fill that in. So I'm going to work on that. And I'm going to do one piece at a time. I can tell you that some of these clear plastic pieces are being very problematic when it comes to snapping them in. They are very tight. In order to make sure that's in there good, I will put some glue down. Okay. And the last one was really difficult to get snapped in there. Well, it was actually the other part. Okay, that went in nicely. It's the part that goes over it. It's this little clear piece. That did not want to go in very well. At least the other one, it was very stubborn to go in. So let me see. Does it need any filing? Just to make it just a tad easier, I'm going to just run that. Maybe I'll take a little bit off on those snaps, because I am going to run some glue, so it's going to hold in there anyway. Okay, so I know what I'm doing. Some glue down. Yeah, see, it's exactly what happened the last time. So anyway, so you can see one snap goes in really well, and the other one is really tough to get in there. And I really had to push on it with my thumb It still doesn't want to go in. I'm actually going to, there we go. Teased it with the forceps. So anyway, that piece is in. Now it's time for the back piece, which also was a bit tight. Being a bit tight is actually good. You know it's not coming out. But on small pieces, that can be kind of hard getting them in there. It trimmed up really nicely. Find anything that needs to be trimmed up. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to set some glue down because I really want this to hold. It's just about out of glue. Again, really, and it is in there. So the bulk of the model is complete. There is just a couple of pieces down in the bottom underneath that need to be added, and of course the rear impulse engine. So when I come back, those will be added. All right. I am back here with most of step 5 done. In fact, let me get that piece out of the way. So let me show you what some of the things were. There were more of the phaser cannons, which if you remember, those of you who are familiar with the show and would know that they're quad phaser cannons. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and then what else did I put on? Oh yes, and there were these little things in here, which I think there might be part of impulse, or there may be rear photon torpedoes. I'm not sure. I have to look at that. Maybe those are rear cannons. But anyway, they're inside these holes here, and I put them in all the way. I'm not sure if they were supposed to go in all the way or not, but I wanted to make sure they weren't going to come out, so they're in there all the way with some glue. So the last pieces are the rear impulse, and there's a thing of some detail that goes in there. And I'm going to do that, and I'm going to lay down some glue so that things stay. Okay, so let's put the impulse in first. The easiest probably. And as you can see, that's being extremely problematic. There it goes. Alright, that's in. And then the other piece, and that's snapped in, and there's some glue. So those were that right there and that right there. So the pieces of the ship are complete. But anyway, there you go. There is the ship in all its glory before the painting begins. Take it off this. You see where the gaps are. I have to fix that before I paint. See the front deflector dish. So, cool little ship. And catch y'all in the next videos.